Andare dal veterinario in modo periodico è una cosa molto importante, perché durante la visita possono emergere anche sintomi di patologie magari allo stadio iniziale e poi gli animali non parlano e quindi molti sintomi non sono neppure evidenti fino a che la malattia non è allo stadio avanzato. E andare dal veterinario in modo periodico è importante anche perché consente al proprietario di non affidarsi soltanto alle autocure del dottor Google che portano spesso a diagnosi errate o a preoccuparsi in modo esagerato per cose invece per cui la preoccupazione magari non serve. La visita veterinaria aiuta anche a gestire e parlando anche col proprietario la qualità di vita del cane, perché si parla dell'alimentazione, delle giuste profilassi, delle terapie da fare, e in quanto appunto l'animale fa parte della famiglia e avere appunto il medico veterinario che lo visita e lo cura ci dà una garanzia anche sul tipo di farmaco che viene utilizzato e anche perché spesso i proprietari degli animali pensano di poter utilizzare farmaci umani anche sul proprio animale, cosa molto sbagliata perché alcuni farmaci proprio sono tossici. Farmaci che noi usiamo non quotidianamente, ma comunque senza nemmeno bisogno di prescrizione medica, per il cane o il gatto possono essere molto pericolosi, non solo per il principio attivo ma anche per il dosaggio.
Each animal species is different from the others, and there are also differences between breeds of the same species. This complexity is important to be assessed during the drug development in order to obtain a quality, safe and effective product. A preclinical and clinical trials of veterinary medicinal products refers to studies of effects of a veterinary medicinal product on a target animal species, with the objective of assessing the safety, efficacy, absorption, distribution, metabolism, excretion and the residues of the product in the target species. These studies are intended to fulfill all the requirements of a registration dossier in order to proceed with the marketing authorization application. Absolutely. Quality is the foundational reason for a trial. In fact, the Veterinary International Conference on Harmonization has developed different guidelines for the management of clinical trials in veterinary medicine, and those must be respected when performing trials for a veterinary medicinal product application in Europe. Respect for quality is the basis of each guidance and will guarantee the validity of the findings.
Sì, certo, abbiamo scorte di medicinali che ci servono appunto per le emergenze e per le prime cure, iniziare la terapia in ambulatorio e poi il proprietario proseguirà a casa.
The distribution of veterinary medicine and active substances with the entry into force of the new regulation place quality as the core of the management system. Now, good distribution practices are a regulatory requirement that must be respected by all the stakeholders involved. Good distribution practices is the sum of the measures taken within the pharmaceutical supply chain to ensure that the quality and integrity of medicine product and active pharmaceutical ingredient are maintained. the requirement for the distribution of medicinal products have increased continuously. This affects not only all service providers involved in the supply chain, such as storage, transport and distribution companies and wholesalers, but drug manufacturers as well. The quality system shall encompass the organizational structure, procedure, processes and resources, as well all activities necessary to ensure product quality during the distribution practices. Companies are developing a documented system based on a quality manual, a change control system, and a periodic review monitoring by the management. The new regulation also defines specific requirements for personnel, equipment, premise, and informatics systems.
Le reazioni avverse ai farmaci sono possibili, sono alcune indicate nel bugiardino, altre no, e noi veterinari siamo obbligati a comunicarle alle autorità competenti tramite la farmacovigilanza.
From January 2023, with the entry into force of the new regulation, the quality is now a key part of veterinary pharmacovigilance system. New tasks and duties are required for the companies, and an effective quality system is a fundamental support. The development of quality management system is very challenging for those companies that, due to their business, are only marketing authorization holder and act on the market as commercial companies that have their product manufactured by third parties. In fact, as the manufacturer need to comply with the good manufacturing practice, they are more confident with the quality management system structure, SOP management, and good documentation practices and data integrity principle. Instead, the commercial companies are not confident with this kind of activities and often doesn't have inside their organization a quality assurance role, or it's not a full-time occupation. PQE has developed its full digital pharmacovigilance quality management system, which can be applied by each marketing authorization holder that need a support on PV. We have a flexible quality management system that permits us to apply it as complete system or only in part, responding to the specific holder needing. Through it, we are able to manage all the PV tasks from suspected adverse event to senior management, and we can support with the QA activities, training, audit, KPI, periodic review, quality control, and documentation management.
È fondamentale che i farmaci siano aggiornati al progresso scientifico, anche perché i farmaci che utilizziamo soprattutto nei grossi animali, quindi negli animali da reddito, sono poi farmaci, sostanze e impurità che ritroviamo negli alimenti e nei loro derivati, quindi latte, formaggi, carni, e il farmaco ha un tempo di sospensione che è indicato sempre nel bugiardino, che è il tempo di attesa che dobbiamo aspettare, cioè dall'utilizzo del farmaco a poi il consumo dei derivati, quindi delle derrate alimentari, e queste impurità ovviamente non solo le possiamo ritrovare nel cibo ma anche nell'ambiente.
It is known that elementary impurities do not provide any therapeutic benefit to the animals. Their level in the product should be controlled within acceptable limit in order to guarantee the animal and consumer safety. Elementary impurities are critical quality attribute for all the veterinary medicinal product, and for a quality-driven sector as the pharmaceutical industry, they need to be managed in compliance with the regulation and guidance. 1 year after the due date, elementary impurities risk assessment are still a problem for veterinary marketing authorization holder and manufacturers. The whole process can be challenging for pharmaceutical companies that are still conducting their risk assessment for different reasons. For example, old product dossier with leak of information, problems on obtaining information from supplier of API and excipient, container closure system or manufacturer of the finished product, many stakeholders involved inside and outside the company, large product portfolio, and no expertise inside the companies in chemistry and pharmaceutical technologies.
Un cavallo è un atleta ed è l'emblema della qualità. Tutto nella sua vita deve rispettare la qualità, da quello che mangia, a dove vive, ai farmaci che utilizza. Le aziende che forniscono farmaci per cavalli sono aziende che ovviamente rispettano tutti questi principi, e spesso la produzione dei farmaci nasce proprio da una passione per questi animali.
European legislation requires all veterinary medicine to undergo an environmental risk assessment based on their expected use. The ERA is an evaluation of the possible hazard to the environment posed by a veterinary medicine. The European medicine agencies consider the environmental risk of a veterinary medicine in its benefit risk assessment and provide guidance to help marketing authorization applicants assess the environmental impact of their medicine and implement risk mitigation measures. What are the purposes of the assessment? First, to identify potential environmental hazard and risk. Second, to identify the need for specific risk minimization measures where appropriate. Third, that appropriate labeling is in place for users and healthcare professionals. The ERA considers solely the use of medicine and physiochemical, ecotoxicological and fate properties of its active substances. The ERA comprises two phases. The phase 1 assessment determines the environmental exposure of the medicine and the need for an ecotoxicological assessment. Medicine whose phase 1 assessment concludes that their environmental exposure is not negligible have to undergo an ecotoxicological assessment, the phase 2. This generally applies to veterinary medicine used for aquaculture, intensively reared terrestrial animals and pasture animals.